for today's practice, you're going to need a block or something that you can weight bear on quite easily. A strap, if you haven't got one at home, then a belt or something of the like. And I'm going to recommend, as always, a meditation cushion or a pillow, something that can go underneath your feet and underneath your knee as needed. Once you've got your props close by, you can make your way to your mat, and we'll begin in a seated position today, so Sukhasana. And this is really similar to a cross-legged seat. So if it does feel like you're rounding your back to be able to sit down, feel free and grab a meditation cushion, something that you can sit on to help tip your pelvis forward. And if you're noticing that there's some tightness in the hips or the knees are feeling quite elevated in space, I'm just going to recommend blocks that you can slide underneath your thighs, giving some support to the hips. And then once it feels like you can settle in comfortably, just try shifting your weight forwards and back, and then side to side. And see if you can find the spot that feels like it's right in the middle of all of that. Again, a slight tipping forwards of the pelvis in space. And then your hands can rest in any way that feels comfortable for you. So maybe hands on your knees, maybe palm over palm resting in your thighs. And then if you feel safe and comfortable to do so, you might close down your eyes. And then taking the time to sit really tall, feeling your ears stack over your shoulders and shoulders over hips. Now take a deep full inhale through your nose and a big sigh as you exhale through the mouth. One more just like that. Take a deep full inhale and a sighing exhalation. And just allowing your breath to return to its natural rhythm. But see if you can trace the movement of your breath today, following the sound of it. Maybe making observations about the texture of your breathing or the temperature of it. Eventually, maybe relaxing the muscles of the abdomen enough that every time you inhale, you can feel your belly rising. Now, can you explore what it might feel like to breathe only through your nose? Has something shifted? And how does that feel? Well, if that's okay, could you add a little bit of length first to your inhale? Maybe just adding 1 or 2 counts. And try that on for a few cycles of breath. And then if that's okay, try adding length to your exhalation. Try that for a few cycles of breath. And if it's still working, see if you can get the length of your exhales to match the length of your inhales. Now, this is called Samavriti Pranayama, and it is definitely a breathing technique that you could use to support your practice today. But if there's a different breathing technique you prefer, you just introduce it whenever it feels right for you. Do try to maintain a controlled breath throughout our practice. And we'll start to add just very subtle movements into the body. First, figure out where the tips of your fingers are in space, and then wiggle them. Now, can you find your toes and wiggle them? Letting the movement get a little bit bigger now, it might feel okay to circle out your wrists. Try in one direction and then the other. Maybe you'll decide to straighten out your legs. You could reach your arms up overhead and take a good full body stretch. And then with your exhale, just making your way down onto your back. So moving any props you have out of the way. And then once you're laying down, hug both knees in towards your chest simultaneously if that's an option for you. And then interlace your fingers around your shins or the backs of your thighs, whatever's accessible. And we're just going to try and massage the lower back. So see how it feels to rock from side to side. Or maybe you could try doing big circles with your knees. Try in one direction and then the other. Some people really enjoy rocking up and down. Maybe that's you too. Take just one more breath to explore whatever option you've enjoyed. And then find stillness at center, keeping the grip around only your right leg. Send your left leg long on your mat. Dorsiflex your feet so that your toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. Try to curl your shoulder heads down and start by hugging your right knee into the very center of your torso. Keep hugging your knee in close, but then work it out towards your armpit. And then back towards the center of your torso. And out towards your armpit. Now you could continue in this way, but you might find doing circles feels nice. Or maybe it's just stillness that you're after today, and if that's the case, just try to avoid a pinching sensation in your right hip crease.
Once you're down on your back, bend up both knees, hug them in towards your chest. Give yourself a good squeeze. You might interlace your fingers around your shins or the backs of your thighs, just whatever's accessible today. And then try and introduce a movement that will massage your lower back. So for some of you, that might be found by rocking from side to side. And maybe you prefer doing big circular movements with the knees. Go in one direction and then the other. Or maybe you prefer just rocking up and down. So really just whatever feels right for you at this time. And take one more breath cycle to explore here. And then finding stillness at center. Keep the grip around your right leg. Send your left leg long on your mat. Dorsiflex your feet so that your toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. And then relax your shoulder heads down. Now start by hugging your right knee into the very center of your torso. Keep hugging your knee in close, but then work it out towards your armpit. And then back towards the center of your torso. And out towards your armpit. And you can just continue in this way, swaying back and forth. Or you might prefer to do more of a circular movement at the hip joint again. Or maybe it's just stillness you're after, and if that's the case, just try avoiding a pinching sensation at your right hip crease as you continue to hug that right thigh in. We'll take one more breath cycle here. With your next inhale, send your right foot up towards the ceiling as you attempt to straighten your right leg. Now your hands are going to come to your hamstrings or your calf, just whatever is accessible at the back of the leg that isn't the knee. Now as you inhale, press up through the sole of your right foot, and that's a really great place to stay. Or maybe as you exhale, you'll gently hug the thigh towards your chest. So with each inhale, pushing up through the sole of your foot, and with each exhale, either stay or hug the thigh in. And then see if you can find a very subtle sensation in the back of your right leg. And once you've got it, redirect your attention to the length and quality of your exhalations. And then after a few breaths, just check back in. If some of that sensation has subsided, then maybe you'll draw your thigh in a little bit closer. We'll take 2 more breath cycles in this more passive expression. Now locate your strap. Hook your strap under the sole of your right foot, and then send your right foot up towards the ceiling. So you are attempting to straighten the leg. And you're just going to walk your hands up your strap so that it is taut. Now as you inhale, press up through the sole of your right foot, and that's a great place to stay. Or maybe as you exhale, you start to hug the thigh towards the chest. You are looking, as always, for a very subtle sensation in the back of the right leg. So if it is pretty intense, you might consider backing off just a bit. And then once you've got that subtle sensation, redirect your attention towards the length and quality of your exhalations. Let these next few breaths be the most satisfying breaths of the day. Every exhale actually feels soothing. And then after a few breaths, check in with that sensation again. If it has subsided, then maybe you'll tug on the straps, inviting the thigh just a little closer. Find that new edge of sensation to work with. And then just breathe. We've got 1 more full cycle of breath here. Now taking both of the straps into your right hand, and your left hand's coming to your left hip. You're going to apply a good amount of pressure here so that the left hip doesn't lift in space. Now in steps, as you inhale, press up through the sole of your right foot. As you exhale, pull on your straps, drawing your thigh in towards your chest. Now inhale, push through the sole of your foot, and as you exhale, lowering your right foot towards the right side wall. And so there is this tendency for the left hip to lift, but it's important that it stays down. So really anchor down from the left thigh. And then push through the sole of your right foot, but continue to pull back with arm strength. So it's just 2 full cycles of breath here. Now try to use leg strength as opposed to arm strength. Draw your leg back to center. Release your strap. Hug your left knee in towards your chest. Interlace your fingers around your shin or the back of your thigh, whatever is accessible. Remember to relax the shoulder heads down as you begin to hug your left knee into the very center of your torso. Keep hugging it in close, but then work your knee out towards your armpit. And then just continue in this way, finding that fluid awakening for the hip joint as the leg sways from side to side. And remember, if you prefer to do more of a circular movement, that's a really good option to explore as well. Or even stillness, just avoiding that pinching sensation again at the hip crease. And taking 1 more cycle of breath in whatever expression you've chosen. Reach for your strap. Hook it under the sole of your left foot, and then send your left foot up towards the ceiling. Walk the hands up the strap so that it is quite taut, but you can still relax the shoulders down to the ground. Now working with your breath, as you inhale, press up through the sole of your left foot. Great place to stay. Or as you exhale, maybe drawing the thigh towards your chest. So again, seek out that subtle sensation. And then just breathe. no objective to move. Instead, finding the capacity to relax, even in an expression like this. Find the steady rhythm of your breath, and then see if you can add just a little bit of length to your exhale. Let it feel soothing. And then after a few breaths, you want to check in with that sensation. If it has subsided, then maybe you hug your left thigh in just a little bit closer. And then right back to the breath. Last full cycle of breath here. And then taking both of the straps into your left hand. Now your right hand's coming to your right hip or thigh and applying pressure to keep that hip down. Here we go in steps. As you inhale, push up through the sole of your left foot. As you exhale, pull on the straps, get your thighs close to your chest as you can. And then inhale, push through the sole of your foot. And as you exhale, start to lower your left foot towards the left side wall. So again, notice the tendency for that right hip to lift. Do the opposite. Really focus on keeping it down. And then push through the sole of your left foot as you continue to pull back on those straps. Imagining that your left foot could align more with your shoulder than it does with your hip. And you've got just 2 full cycles of breath here. With each exhale, feeling the left inner thigh releasing just a little bit. Now for this one, using the strength of your leg instead of the strength of your arms, can you draw your left leg back to center and then release your strap?
Bend up your knees, hug them in towards your chest, give yourself a really good squeeze. And then release, keep the knees bent, but plant the soles of your feet on the ground. Press down into your feet, lift your hips up off the ground. Slide your hips as far to the right as you can, and then put your hips down. Now send your legs along on your mat, and then walk your feet as far to the left as you can. Bend up your elbows, press down into them so you can lift your chest off the ground, and then try to slide your torso as far to the left as you can. So you've created a big banana shape with your body. Now you can complete this banana shape by taking the arms overhead, but if that creates discomfort in the shoulders, then just bring your hands back down to your hips. So you are looking for a very generous stretching sensation on the right side of your torso. Maybe it's traveling down towards your right hip where I T-band. If it doesn't yet exist, try crossing your right ankle on top of your left. Then hook your feet together like twist ties as you work to anchor the outer edge of your right hip down towards the ground. Now, as you inhale, imagine you could really inflate the lungs so that you're creating this space between each one of your ribs. And then just watch the slow, steady recoil of your exhale. And then again, deep, full inhale, massaging those intercostal muscles between the rib cage. Taking just one more breath here. And then if you did cross the ankles, uncross them. Bring your hands back down by your sides. Bend up your knees, plant the soles of your feet on the ground. Press down into your feet, lift your hips up, and slide them really far to the left to compensate as we go to the other side. Once your hips are down, send your legs along on your mat, and then walk your feet as far to the right as you can. Bend up your elbows, press down into them so that you can shimmy your torso towards the right. And then once you're ready, maybe you'll take the arms overhead. Maybe they'll just rest at your side. Now you're looking for that very generous stretching sensation on the left side of your body. So again, if it doesn't yet exist, just try crossing the left ankle on top of the right. Remember to hook the feet, and then notice how the left bum cheek tries to lift. You want to do the opposite. So anchor the entire left hip and seat down towards the ground. And then as you inhale, imagine you could really exaggerate the extent to which you can inflate your lungs. And just slow, steady exhale. But then try that again, a deep, full inhale. And just as slow with the exhale. 2 more breaths here. And then uncrossing the ankles. If your arms are overhead, bring them back down by your sides. Bend up your knees, plant the soles of your feet on the ground, press down into your feet so you can bring your hips all the way back towards center. Hug the knees in towards the chest, give yourself a good squeeze. And then release, keep the knees bent, plant the soles of the feet on the ground. Press down into your feet, lift your hips up, slide your hips as far to the right as you can, put your hips down. This time, pick your feet up, draw your knees towards your chest like you're gonna give yourself a hug, and then lower your knees towards the left. Now with your right hand, just check to make sure that your hips have stacked. If they're not stacked, try sliding your hips even more to the right to compensate. And then once you've got the hips stacked, you might reach the arms out in opposite directions. But for many of us, it creates a pulling sensation at the front of the right shoulder, or the right arm just ends up hanging out in space. So if you feel like that's you, maybe take your right hand back towards your hip instead. And we can really start to focus on twisting from the thoracic spine. So if you see if you can find the very middle of your back, now try to make that area touch the ground. And then find out where your sternum is, or your upper chest. Stay at this height, but move back towards your spine. Now imagine this area can touch the ground. And at this point, if it feels okay for your neck, you might decide to look over your right shoulder. Last full breath like this. And then slowly untwisting, making your way back through center. Pressing down into the feet, lift your hips up, slide them all the way to the left to compensate as we switch sides. Put your hips down, pick your feet up, draw your knees first towards your chest, then lower your knees towards the right. Your left hand is going to check to make sure that the hips have stacked, and once they have, again, you can release the arms out in opposite directions. If it's creating an unpleasant stretching sensation at the front of your left shoulder, or your left arm is hanging out in space, again, might be better off taking your left hand to your hip. Now take a slow, steady inhale. And as you exhale, try to make the middle of your back touch the ground. And then as you inhale, figure out where the sternum is, move back towards the spine, and then try to make that area touch the ground. If it creates no strain in the neck, you might decide to look over the left palm. Otherwise, just looking up towards the ceiling. You've got one more full breath here. And then slowly untwisting, making your way back through center. Press down into the feet to lift your hips up, guide them back to center, and then release. Picking up your block, you're going to slide your block between your shins. Bend up the knees, stack the knees on top of the hips so that the shins are now about parallel to the ground. Take your arms out into a T, or you might decide to goalpost your arms, whatever works best for you. But for this one, we're going to keep both shoulder blades on the ground at all times. Take a full inhale here. And as you exhale, lower your knees towards the left, but only come about halfway down. So you want to make sure that the outside edge of your left thigh is not just resting on the ground. And then focus on squeezing that block as much as you can. Use your inhale to slowly make your way back to center. And as you exhale, over towards the right. So again, just coming about halfway down. Can you flex the feet as you squeeze the block and anchor your left shoulder blade towards the ground? As you inhale, make your way back to center. And as you exhale, over to the left. Now you're welcome to stay right there. If you want to try step 2, attempt to straighten the legs. Remember to squeeze the block. Bend the knees, make your way back to center, straight over to the right. Now you can stay right there, or you can attempt to straighten your legs. Squeeze the block as you root your left shoulder blade down. Bend your knees, make your way back to center. Last set, over to the left. You can stay with the knees bent or attempt to straighten your legs. Or step 3, try to get your toes to align with your left palm and then lower your feet to hover. Bend the knees, make your way back to center and over to the right. You can stay or you can attempt to straighten your legs or maybe even toes to line with your right palm. Can you lower the feet just a little bit more? And then bend your knees, make your way back to center, release the block, take the soles of your feet together. As your feet tap down, the knees fall wide apart on the mat. Hands can rest wherever it makes you feel the most comfortable. And then as you inhale, let your belly rise. And as you exhale, just observe that ensuing fall. And then once it feels like you can, try to breathe through your nose. Then add length to the breath. Eventually finding consistency and length between the inhale and the exhale. And draw your knees back to center, rolling over to the right-hand side, landing in the fetal position. Just allowing your forearm to support your head as you get settled here. Taking some time to check in again with your intention and the quality of your breath. And when you're ready, you'll just push enough into your left palm that you can lift yourself up to a seated position, coming right back into Sukhasana now. Now, whatever shin you just put in front, can you try switching it and put the opposite shin in front? Send your left fingertips beside your left hip. Reach up with your right fingertips. Side body bend towards the left. Now, you're welcome to stay right there. If you feel no stretching on the right side of your body, could you try walking your left fingertips a little bit further away? If that stretch still doesn't exist, try dropping the left forearm towards the ground. Now, wherever you are, can you roll your heart up towards the ceiling and then try to lean back just slightly. Now take a slow, steady inhale and find the same length on your exhale. As you inhale, lifting all the way back up to center, tense your right fingertips by your right hip, reach up with your left fingertips, side body bend towards the right. So again, you're welcome to stay there. If no stretching exists yet, try walking the right fingertips away from the hip. And if you're still looking for more, again, you might release the forearm to the ground. Now press down through your left hip as you reach through your left index finger. Roll your heart up towards the ceiling as you lean back slightly. And then inhale, lift back up to center. Tense your left fingertips behind your left hip. Take your right hand to the outside edge of your left thigh. As you inhale, sit as tall as you can. And as you exhale, twist towards the left. And then inhale, try to sit taller. As you exhale, twisting a little deeper. Try that one more time. Inhale, sit up. As you exhale, twist. And then slowly coming back to center, and we're going straight to the other side. So tense your right fingertips behind your right hip, left hand to the outside edge of right thigh. As you inhale, sit up tall. As you exhale, twisting towards the right. And then inhale, sitting tall. Exhale, try and twist a little deeper. Just one more time. Inhale, lift through the crown of your head. Exhale, twisting. And then slowly untwist to make your way back through center. And your choices now are either to roll over your shins or sweep your legs to the side so you can find a tabletop position. Now stacking shoulders over wrists and hips over knees. Remember to spread the fingers wide as you hollow out the palms of your hands. As you inhale, tip your pelvis forward, take your gaze up towards the ceiling, and then try to pull your chest forward through your arms. As you exhale, round your spine, take your chin to your chest, press down through the hands. Inhale, your pelvis tips forward as your gaze looks up, try to pull the chest forward. Exhale, full round of the spine, chin to chest. And then just continuing these movements, but go with your own breath now so that it's as fast or as slow as you want it to be. After this exhale, return to tabletop with a neutral spine. Curl your toes under. Hover your knees about an inch off the ground. Pull your chest as far forward as you can, and then keep your upper body where it is. Just step your left foot to the back of your mat, followed by your right. And then try to wiggle your feet a little bit further back. See if you can pull your chest a little further forward. Take a full inhale. As you exhale, knees to the ground, lower halfway down. Try to get your shoulders to the height of your elbows, not lower. Push into your hands, lift right back up like you would for a push-up, and we'll try again. Pull your chest forward, bend your elbows to lower halfway down. Try to get the shoulders away from your ears. Push into your hands, lift right back up. Last time, as you exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana, lower halfway down. This time, drop the pelvis, lift your chest without using your hands, and then as you exhale, lay back down. Let's try that again. As you inhale, lift the chest up. As you exhale, lay down. Last time, inhale, lift the chest. But this time, tense your fingers on the ground. Push down into them so that you can lift up 1 inch. Stay right there, and then try to hover your hands. Tense your fingers on the ground. Push down into them. Lift up 1/2 inch. Stay right there. Hover the hands. As you exhale, lay down. Inhale, press up through tabletop, curl your toes under, lift your feet up, and then back. Downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So feel free to walk it out or take any movement that feels nice for you. Maybe a deep bend into the knees. Maybe you're rapidly pedaling the feet or swaying the hips from side to side. When you are ready for stillness, spread the fingers wide and then try to push the ground away from you with your hands. Come up high onto the balls of your feet. Deeply bend your knees. Now try to make your heart touch your thighs. Find the middle of your bum cheeks, point them straight up towards the ceiling. Keep that pushed down through your heels as you attempt to straighten the legs. We'll try that again. Come up onto the balls of your feet. Deeply bend your knees. Heart towards your thighs. Find the middle of your bum cheeks, point them up. Keep that as you attempt to straighten the legs. Let's try one more modified flow. As you inhale, draw your torso forward so your shoulders suck over your wrists. Exhale, knees down, lower halfway down. Drop just the pelvis as you lift the chest cobra. Exhale, lay all the way down. Inhale, press up through tabletop. As you exhale, curl the toes under, lift the feet up and back, downward facing dog. So you are welcome to stick with the modified flow for the duration of our practice. If you'd like to try the full flow, we'll do that once together. So inhale, draw your torso forward, high plank, high push-up. This time you keep the legs lifted and strong, and as you exhale, lower halfway down, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. So as you straighten your arms, stack your shoulders over your wrists. Stay here, keep breathing. Pull your hips forward, heart up, and then squeeze the tips of your shoulder blades together. Curl over your toes to lift your feet up and back, downward facing dog. Come up high onto the balls of your feet. Drop your knees towards the ground, go knees wide. Release to the shoelace parts of your feet and then drop your bum towards your heels as your torso rests towards the ground. Now you can keep your arms out ahead of you. Maybe you would like to bend your elbows, stacking forearm on top of forearm and then resting your forehead upon them. Finding now Balasana, child's pose. So if at any point during today's practice you're feeling dizzy, overwhelmed, you just want a little bit of a break, I'm going to recommend that you come back here and you stay for as long as you need. But now adding just a little bit of activity into this posture, walk your hands as far out ahead of you as you can, and then walk your hands as far to the right as you can. So it's a very good chance you're going to need to come off the side of your mat. That's okay. But you're looking for that generous stretching sensation on the left side of your torso. If it's not quite there, try walking your hands even more towards the right. Take one more full inhale. Equally slow with the exhale. And then as you inhale, slowly walking back to center. And then continue walking your hands all the way towards the left. And again, you might need to come off the edge of your mat a little bit. Now looking for that stretch on the right side of your torso. Know that some people enjoy dropping the right armpit down towards the ground, and others like to roll it up towards the ceiling. So you kind of have to wiggle around until you find that spot that's working for you, but then find steadiness in the breath once you get there. And slowly making your way back through center, pressing into the hands, lifting up through tabletop. Curl the toes under, lift your feet up and back, downward facing dog. Then take a deep bend into the knees. Look between the hands. You can walk, step, or jump your feet forwards. As you inhale, lift up halfway. So take your hands to your shins or to your thighs, just not the knees. Stay here, keep breathing. Roll the weight forwards towards your big toe mount. Take a micro bend into your knees so they're not locked out. And then pull your torso so far forward that it feels like your back is parallel with the ground. Keep that. Reach your fingertips forward. If there's a pinching in the shoulders, just bend the elbows. Now, can you get your heart away from your hips? Teeny little back bend here to turn on the muscles along the spine. And then as you exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift all the way up to standing. Arms reach up, gaze looks up. Bring your palms together, and as you exhale, draw them down to your heart center. Hands rest at your sides, Tadasana. With your next inhale, arms reach up, and then interlace your fingers. Release just your index finger and your thumb. As you exhale, side body bend towards the right. Now, as you inhale, just lift out slightly, and as you exhale, see if you can fold a little deeper. And then inhale, lifting out just slightly. And as you exhale, try to fold a little deeper. Stay there. Roll your heart up towards the ceiling. Now drop your right hand to your right hip or to your right thigh, whatever's working for you. Shoot your left hip even more to the left and then lean as far right as you can. As you inhale, lift back up to center, interlacing the fingers, but do the opposite grip. So it's the opposite thumb in front. And then as you exhale, side body bend towards the left. As you inhale, lift out just slightly. And as you exhale, try to fold a little deeper. Try that again. Inhale, lift just slightly. Exhale, fold a little deeper. Stay there as you roll the heart up towards the ceiling. One more breath like this in this strength expression. And then we'll really stretch it out. So your left hand drops to your hip or to your thigh. Shoot your right hip as far to the right as you can, and then lean to the left as you roll your heart. As you inhale, lifting back up to center, palms together, down to your heart, hands to your sides, Tadasana. Let's flow. Inhale, arms reach up as your gaze looks up. Exhale, fold forwards, lead with your heart. Inhale, halfway lift as your heart draws forward. Exhale your hands to the ground. Your options are to jump and land in Chaturanga or walk to high plank, and as you exhale, lower down Chaturanga. inhale the back bend of your choice. And as you exhale, downward facing dog, just a few breaths here. Walk it out as needed. As you inhale, lift your right leg high behind you. Exhale, knee to your nose, lift your hips up, and then place your foot between your palms, but help it up as needed. Now drop your left knee, and here I would recommend your chip foam block or a cushion, meditation pillow underneath your knee, something for a little bit of cushioning under there. And then dropping the left knee down, straighten your right leg, roll up onto your right heel as your toes point up towards the ceiling. As you inhale, pull your heart forwards, and as you exhale, lead with your heart tip from your pelvis as you slowly hinge forwards. And if it does feel like you're getting a round in the lower back, then grab hold of your block to give yourself just a little bit more height. Now try to pull the heart away from the hip, and with each exhale, just imagine you're tipping from the pelvis to fold over the thigh. We're taking just one more breath here today. And then walk your hands back forward so you can stack your right knee on top of your ankle. Find your block, plant it on the ground beside your right hip, and then just leave it there. As you inhale, lift your torso up, take your hands to your right thigh. Relax your shoulders down, and then press down and forwards on your right thigh. And see if you can get a generous stretch at the top of your left thigh. Now, as you inhale, lift up from the crown of your head. And as you exhale, relax your left thigh down towards the ground. Take one more breath like that, using the exhale to release the thigh towards the ground. Now take your right forearm to your right thigh, left hand to the ceiling, and then side body bend towards the right. Now lunge your left thigh down towards the ground. Roll your heart up towards the ceiling, and then see if you can lean just a little bit more to the left. Now you're welcome to stay there or take step 2. You'll drop your right hand to the block. It's right where you hope it is. Now actually put weight onto the block so that you can lean just a little bit more. Lunge the left thigh down, roll the heart up, and then lean back as you take one more breath. As you inhale, lift back up to center. Plant your left hand on the ground under your left shoulder. Take your right hand to your right hip. As you inhale, pull the crown of your head forward, find length in the torso. And as you exhale, twist towards the right. Now, if it so happens that your shoulders stack, you can go ahead and lift your right hand up towards the ceiling. Now, with each inhale, pull the crown of your head forward. And with each exhale, twist, rotating the torso towards the right. And then slowly untwist, planting the palms. Curl your left toes under, lift your left thigh, step your right foot back, high plank. Now you can flow or you can skip it and go straight to downward facing dog, whatever suits your practice best today. With your next inhale, lift your left leg high behind you. As you exhale, knee to your nose, lift your hips up, place your foot between your palms. Drop your right knee, and again, I suggest supporting it with a chip foam block or a cushion. And then straighten your left leg as you roll up onto your left heel. The toes will point up towards the ceiling. Use your inhale to pull your heart away from your hips, and your exhale to tip from your pelvis, folding over the thigh. So again, any rounding in the lower back generally means that we've lost the stretch in the left hamstring. So if it feels like that's you, just go ahead and put your hands on your block, give yourself a little bit more height, and then work with every inhale to pull the heart away from the hip, and every exhale tipping to fold. We've got 2 more breaths here. And walk your hands back forward, stack your left knee on top of your ankle, find your block, plant it on the ground beside your left hip, leave it there, and as you inhale, lift your torso up, take your hands to your left thigh. Relax the shoulders down as you press down and forwards on the left thigh. Looking now for that generous stretch at the front of your right thigh. Now, as you inhale, lift up from the crown of your head. And as you exhale, relax the hips towards the ground. Try that one more time. Inhale, lift from the crown of your head. Exhale, relaxing the hips down. Then take your left forearm to your left thigh. Reach up with your right fingertips. Side body bend towards the left. Now lunge your right thigh as deeply as you can. Roll your heart up towards the ceiling, and then see if you can lean to the left just a little bit more. Now you're welcome to stay there. If you tried step 2 on the other side, your left hand's going to drop to the block. It's right where you're hoping. Now lean weight onto the block. Lunge your right thigh down. Roll the heart up, and then try to lean back just a little bit more. One more full breath like this. As you inhale, lift back up to center. As you exhale, plant your right hand under your right shoulder. Take your left hand to your left hip. As you inhale, pull the crown of your head forward. As you exhale, twist your torso towards the left. Inhale, pull the crown of your head forwards, and as you exhale, twist towards the left. Now, if the shoulders are stacked, feel free to lift your left hand up towards the ceiling. Now, for one more breath, can you rotate your torso up towards the ceiling? And then slowly untwisting, planting the palms, curl your right toes under, lift your right thigh, step your left foot back, high plank, and then flow or skip it. And I'll meet you in downward facing dog. Remember, child's pose Balasana is an option that's available to you whenever you like it.
As you inhale, lift your right leg up high behind you. Exhale, knee to your nose, lift your hips up, place your foot between your palms. Release your left heel to about a 45-degree angle to the back of your mat, and then find your block and just plant that on the instep of your right foot. You're going to leave that right there as you inhale, lift your torso up. So you're trying to stack the shoulders on top of the hips and then reach the arms in opposite directions. So what's super important is that you can see your right big toe. If you can't, you need a longer stance. And then you just want to make sure that your left toes, knee, and hip are all pointing in the same direction. So for most of us, that's going to be in at about a 45-degree angle. Now generously bend your right knee and then squeeze your inner thighs towards each other. Lift up from the crown of your head as you relax down into the right hip, but then reach through your fingers as you shrug it out of the shoulders. One more cycle of breath here, Virabhadrasana B. And then reach as far forward as you can with your right fingertips. When you can't reach anymore, right forearm goes to your right thigh, left hand to the ceiling, and then overhead, palm faces down. So a lot of us are going to get stuck in the shoulder. It kind of looks like this. If it feels like that's you, drop your arm in front of your face to take it overhead. And at the point where your arm is in a line with your ear, stop there. Imagine bicep could kiss the ear. Now roll your heart up towards the ceiling, and if it's an option, lean back slightly. And you're welcome to stay there. If you'd like to try step 2, your right hand is going to come down to the block. Now we're going to change the pose up a bit. Push your arm into your leg, feel that? Now do the opposite, push your leg into your arm. And then find a balance of the two. You're welcome to stay right there. If you really love working with your core, try reaching your right fingertips forward without collapsing and still rolling the heart up. Last breath cycle. Now keep your right leg exactly as it is, but as you inhale, lift up warrior 2, it's only for a breath, and then straighten your right leg. Now heel toe your left foot in about a foot, just a few inches really. Now your left hand comes to your left hip. Shoot your hip towards the wall behind you, and then reach as far forward as you can with your right fingertips. Now when you can't reach anymore, right fingertips fall to that block. Now if it's an option to get your left shoulder on top of your right, then you might reach the left hand up, or maybe even overhead, your choice. Now push down to your right big toe mound, but if you feel any pressure or pulling behind that knee, just micro bend it. Roll your heart up towards the ceiling. If there's no strain in your neck, you might even try looking upwards. And then wherever you're at, see if you can lean back into your heart. Soft bend into your right knee as you inhale, lift all the way back up to vertical. Watch out for that block as you rotate your right foot so that it's parallel with your left. Hands are going to catch your hips. As you inhale, lift from the crown of your head. As you exhale, lead with your heart, tip from your pelvis, and slowly hinge forwards. And then when you can't hinge anymore, just release your hands to the ground. Now take a massive bend into your knees so that your bum is at the height of your knees. And then walk your hands back so that they align with the arches of your feet. If you still have space to move, you can flip your hands around so they face behind you and then keep walking them back. Now just leave your hands where they are for the moment. Roll the weight forwards towards your big toe mounds. Push down through your feet as you attempt to straighten your legs. Now with your hands on the ground, use them as traction. Imagine you could pull your torso through your legs. Let's try that again. Keep your hands where they are. Bend your knees deep. Roll the weight forwards. Push down through your feet and attempt to straighten your legs. Now walk your hands over towards your left leg. Grab hold of whatever's accessible that isn't your knee, and then use arm strength. Try to pull your heart towards your shin. Push some weight towards the pinky toe side of your right foot. Roll forwards to the balls of your feet. Push down through your feet as you lift your seat, and then use arm strength as you pull your heart to your left shin. And then slowly coming back to center and walk over towards your right leg. Grab hold of whatever's accessible that is not your knee, and then use arm strength as you pull your heart towards your shin. Roll the weight forwards. Push down through your feet as you lift your seat. Arm strength, pull your heart towards your shin. And then slowly make your way back through center. Soft bend into your knees so your hands can catch your hips. As you inhale, just lift halfway. Stay there for a really slow exhale. And then as you inhale, lift all the way back up to standing. Pick up your block. Rotate your left foot so your toes point towards the back of your mat. Heel toe your right foot out so that you've got a little bit longer stance, but then turn that right foot into about a 45-degree angle. Generously bend your left knee and put that block on the instep of your left foot. Now reach your arms in opposite directions. Just make sure, again, that you can see your left big toe if you can't, a longer stance. But then really focus on squeezing your left glute so that you can push your knee towards the pinky toe side of your foot. Now squeeze the arches of your feet towards each other so you've got a lot of strength and support in the legs. And then with that, can you relax into the left hip just a bit? Now take a quick peek back at your right hand. It tends to drop since we're not looking at it, so lift your right hand up to the head of your shoulder and then shrug the tension out of the shoulders. If you choose, you can look over your left hand as you take one more full cycle of breath. Now reach as far forward as you can with your left fingertips. When you can't reach anymore, go left forearm to your left thigh, right hand to the ceiling, and then overhead. Remember, if you're getting stuck in the shoulder, try sweeping your arm in front of your face to take it overhead. Stop when your bicep kisses your ear. Now roll your heart up towards the ceiling. If it's okay for your neck, you might even look up towards your palm. You can stay here. If you took step 2 on the other side, your left hand's going to drop to that block. Now we're changing it up a bit as you push your arm into your leg. Remember to resist it. Push your leg into your arm. Continue to roll the heart up as you lean back into the heart. And you can stay. If you did core on the other side, just reach those left fingertips forward without collapsing into the left side of your rib cage. We hold for 3, 2,
And then keep this really good bend in your left knee as you inhale, lift up, Virabhadrasana B Warrior 2, just for a breath. And then straighten your left leg. Heel toe your right foot in just a few inches. Right hand catches your right hip. Shoot your hips towards the wall behind you. Reach as far forward as you can with your left fingertips, and when you can't reach anymore, left fingertips fall to that block. Now try to get your right shoulder on top of your left. If the shoulder's stacked, go ahead and lift your right hand up towards the ceiling, or maybe overhead, your choice. If it's okay for your neck, you might decide to look up towards the ceiling as well. If there's any pressure or pulling behind your left knee, remember to micro bend it. But figure out where your pelvis is in space, see if you can push that forwards. And then lean back into your heart as you continue to roll the chest up. Softly bend your left knee as you inhale, lift back up to standing. Watch out for that block as you rotate your left foot so that it's parallel with your right. Now this time, point your toes out to about a 45-degree angle. Bend your knees deeply, bum to the height of your knees. Now just note the tendency for the knees to collapse inwards. That's pretty bad for them. So you want to squeeze the glutes to push your knee towards the pinky toe sides of your feet. And if this is feeling okay and you want to try step 2, just lift the hands, bring the palms together at your heart. Or you could take any kind of mudra that you enjoy, that's up to you. If you're still looking for more, you might come up onto the balls of your feet. Continue to drop your seat as you lean back into your heart. Last breath here. And then drop your hands to your thighs. And you're going to try and keep your left arm as straight as possible. Drop your left shoulder down as you rotate your torso towards the right. Stay here. Push your hand into your thigh, but resist it. Push your thigh back into your hand. And then as you inhale, draw your torso back to center. As you exhale, drop your right shoulder down as you rotate your torso to the left. Stay. Push your hand into your thigh. Resist it with strength. Push your thigh into your hand. Inhale, draw your torso back to center a little faster. Drop your left shoulder as you rotate your torso to the right. Inhale, come back to center, and as you exhale, drop your right shoulder, torso to the left. Inhale, back to center. As you exhale, we're folding forward, so hands to the ground, toes forwards. Soft bend into the knees, hands catch your hips. As you inhale, lift up halfway, stay there, slow, steady exhale. And then inhale, continue to lift all the way up to standing. Have water if you like, and I'll meet you at the top of your mat.
With your next inhale, your arms reach up as your gaze looks up. As you exhale, fold forward. Lead with your heart, tip from your pelvis to slowly hinge forward. And then release your hands towards the ground. Now, as you inhale, lift up halfway. Your hands are going to come to your shins or to your thighs, whatever is accessible. Now, pull your chest as far forward as you can. Imagine your back is parallel to the ground. As you exhale, hands to the ground, step your feet to the back of your mat, plank, a high push-up. Take a full inhale, and as you exhale, with or without your knees, chaturanga. Inhale, whatever back bend you really enjoyed. And as you exhale, lift your seat up and back, downward facing dog. Staying here for just a few moments, feel free to walk it out as needed. You can hop through to seated or just release your knees to the mat followed by your seat, your choice. Send your left leg long on your mat. Bend up your right knee, cross your right foot over your left thigh. So the idea is that your right big toe mound will be on the ground, but if that creates a pinching sensation in your hip or it's just not accessible, try sliding your foot away from your hip a little bit. And then some of you might enjoy also bending up your left knee. You'll take your heel to the outside edge of your right hip, but this is only if your right bum cheek can stay down. If it starts to lift, you're just going to straighten that leg out ahead of you again. Now pinch your right fingertips on the ground behind your right hip, reach up with your left fingertip, and then twist from your core as you hook your arm on the outside edge of your leg, although you might prefer to hold on with your forearm. As you inhale, sit as tall as you can, and then as you exhale, twist towards the right. inhale, see if you can sit a little taller. And then as you exhale, try to twist a little deeper. Try one more time like this, in this more passive expression of the posture. And then we'll try the active expression. So first try hovering your right fingertips. Those are the ones you're weight bearing on. Now hover your left arm. And as you exhale, try to twist 1 more millimeter. Hold right there. Take a cycle of breath. And then as you exhale, see if you can twist just 1 more millimeter. And then slowly untwist, make your way back through center, and counter twist if that's something you enjoy. And come back to center. Send your right leg long on your mat. Bend up your left knee. Cross your left foot over your right thigh. And if you did so on the other side, you might also bend your right knee, taking your heel towards the side of your hip. Remember, if that bum cheek lifts, just keep the bottom leg straight. Now tense your left fingertips on the ground behind you. Reach up with your right fingertips. Twist from your abdominals and then see if you can hook your arm on the outside edge of your leg. If that's not an option, just use the forearm. And then as you inhale, sit up really tall. And as you exhale, try and twist just a little deeper. Try that again. Inhale, sit up tall. And as you exhale, try and twist just a little bit deeper. 1 more cycle of breath like this. And then taking the active expression, first hovering left fingertips, followed by right arm. Try and twist a millimeter. Hold right there as you take a cycle of breath. And then try just 1 more millimeter. And then slowly untwisting, making your way back to center. Counter twist again if that's something you did before. And then back through center. You're just going to keep your right leg long, but this time take the sole of your left foot towards your right inner thigh. If the knee is feeling quite elevated in space, best bet to slide your block underneath your thigh, and then you'll stay seated upright. If the knee feels closer to the height of your hip and you want to try to fold today, tent the fingertips on the ground behind you. Push down into them so that you can sit tall, and then lead with your heart tip from your pelvis as you hinge forward. You'll get this weightlessness into your fingertips behind you. If it feels like that's you, go ahead, bring the arms out ahead of you as you continue to fold. But avoid rounding in the lower back along the way. So again, with each inhale, pull the chest forward. Each exhale, tipping from the pelvis to fold. And we'll take a few breaths here. So if it feels okay for you today, maybe closing down the eyes and focusing more on what it feels like than what it looks like. So with each inhale, feel yourself pulling your chest forward. And each exhale, softening some of that resistance in the right leg. And as you inhale, lift from the back of your heart to sit up. Hold on to opposite hands for moral support. Try to drag your right heel back towards your hip and then lift your right leg just 1 inch off the ground. Keep it at this 1 inch height, but take it out to the widest angle to the right you can create. Now lift your leg up to 2 inches and then bring it back to center. Lower down to 1 inch, take it out to the right. Lift to 2 inches as you bring it back to center. Last time, lower to 1 inch. Take it out to the right, hold there. Go 1 more millimeter and then put your leg down. Take the peace fingers on your right hand to your right big toe. If that's not an option, feel free to bend the knee so you can get a really good grip. And then wherever you're at, take your left hand to your left hip. Roll your heart up towards the ceiling. Now bend your right elbow deeply. Try to pull your rib cage towards your right thigh. Then go left hand up towards the ceiling and overhead. Imagine you're going to grab for your foot. And if that doesn't feel okay in your left shoulder, just take your hand back towards your hip. Now roll your heart up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, try to lean back into your heart. Now take 2 very slow breaths. And with each exhale, try to lean back into the heart. As you inhale, lifting back up to center, send your left leg long on your mat. Take the sole of your right foot towards your left inner thigh. Remember, if that right thigh is quite elevated in space, best option is a block under your thigh and you'll stay seated upright. If you fold it on the other side, tense your fingertips on the ground behind you, push down into them so you can sit up tall, and then lead with your heart, tip from your pelvis to hinge forward. If you get that weightlessness in your fingertips, bring your arms out ahead of you as you continue to fold. And this is one of those postures where it can be super helpful to focus more on the feeling of it. So if it feels okay for you today, maybe closing down the eye. And for these next few breaths, work with the length and quality of your breath. As you inhale, feel your heart pulling forwards, away from the hips. And with your exhale, softening some of that tension in the left leg. Now using your inhale to lift from the back of your heart, sitting up. Hold on to hands. Drag your left heel back towards your hip and then lift your left foot an inch off the ground. Keep it at that height. Take it out to the left, widest angle you can create. Lift up to 2 inches and then come back to center. Lower to 1 inch and out to the left. Lift it to 2 and come back to center. Last time, lower to 1 and out to the left. Stay there. Try to go 1 more millimeter and then put your foot down. These fingers on your left hand are going to grab hold of your left big toe. Remember, it's a great option to bend the knee as needed. Take your right hand to your right hip. Roll your heart up towards the ceiling. Now bend your left elbow. Pull your torso towards your left thigh. Now go right hand up and overhead, and just imagine you're grabbing for that foot. Again, if it's not okay in the shoulder, just take your right hand back to your hip. Now can you go left ribs forward, right ribs back as you roll your heart up, and then lean back in space to feel that pulling around your right lower back. Now slow and steady with the breath if possible for just 2 more cycles. And then use your inhale, lift all the way back up to center. Bend up your knees and scoot towards the top of your mat. Reach your fingertips forward. Plug your shoulders back. Lift your heart up, take a full inhale. And as you exhale, slowly leaning back. If you want to add a little bit more hip flexor love, pick your feet up. And a little more quad love, attempt to straighten the legs. Take a full inhale wherever you are. And as you exhale, as fast or as slow as you want, you're making your way all the way to the ground. Once you're down, bend your knees, hug them in towards your chest, give yourself a good squeeze. And then release, keep your knees bent, but plant the soles of your feet on the ground. Keep your right foot where it is, pick your left foot up, flex it, put it on top of your right thigh. Now try to press your left knee away from your chest. You're welcome to stay right here. If you're trying step 2, pick your right foot up, thread your left hand through the space you created between your legs. Your right hand's going to reach around to interlace fingers around your shin or your thigh, whatever feels acceptable today. And then start to hug your right thigh towards your chest. Find your tailbone in space, anchor it down towards the ground, and then see if you can hug your right thigh in just a little bit more. You can stay here in this passive expression. If you'd like to try the active expression, let go with your hands, and then squeeze your right hip flexors to draw your right thigh in, and squeeze around your left bum cheek to press your left knee away. You can stay here. If you'd like to try another version, you attempt to straighten your right leg. Now your hands come to your right calf. Keep that leg straight as you try and hug your right thigh towards your chest. 1 more cycle of breath, whatever option you've chosen today. And then release, unwinding the legs, plant the sole of the left foot on the ground, pick the right foot up, dorsey flex it, put the right foot on top of the left thigh. Toes are curling back towards your right knee. Press the right thigh away from your chest and stay. Or step 2, pick your left foot up, thread your right hand through the space you created between your legs. Left hand reaches around to interlace fingers around your shin or your hamstring. Curl the shoulder heads down as you start to hug the left thigh towards your chest. Find your tailbone in space and try to anchor it down as you continue to press your right thigh away. This is a really great place to stay. If you did so on the other side, for the active version, let go with your hands. Squeeze your left hip flexors to get your left thigh closer. And squeeze your right external rotators all around your right bum cheek to help to press that right knee away. You can stay there. If you tried on the other side, you'll attempt to straighten your left leg. Hands come to your left calf as you hug the left thigh towards the chest. And release, unwinding the legs. You have time to take one final posture prior to Shavasana. This is whatever you want it to be. If you haven't the foggiest idea what you'd like to take, but you still want one more, I'll be cueing Ananda Balasana, Happy Baby. So send the soles of your feet up towards the ceiling. Take a deep bend into the knees so you can catch hold of your feet with your hands. You're trying to stack your heels on top of your knees, so if that's not an option, try taking your hands to your hamstrings, the backs of your thighs instead. Now begin to pull down on your legs, allowing your knees to drop to the sides of your rib cage. Notice the tendency of the tailbone to lift. Do the opposite, anchor the tailbone down, and then add a little more intensity. Pull down on the feet, but resist it. Push the feet up into the hands. And then you can stay here. Some people like to rock from side to side. Some people like to play with straightening the legs, one then the other, then maybe both. Sometimes it's just about exploring what feels right for you, so feel free. And then in your own time, there's absolutely no rush to get there, just when you're feeling ready, moving towards final Shavasana. So laying down on the back, and if you do enjoy having a pillow or a blanket here, now would be the opportunity to grab those things. And then eventually just laying down. And feel free to take up as much or as little space as you like. But the idea is that you'll be able to relax all of the muscles in your body. So just by doing a quick scan, if you're noticing a lot of tension in the lower back, you might alleviate that by bending up the knees, planting the soles of the feet on the ground mat distance apart, and then just allowing the knees to fall in towards center. If this still isn't working, then maybe try laying on your side or your belly, perhaps sitting up tall. And then once it feels like you found a good expression for yourself, we're really going to refine it. So can you draw the tips of your shoulder blades together along your back body? And then feel your shoulder head begin to curl away from your ears. Now releasing your controlled breath, take a deep, full inhale through the nose and a big sigh as you exhale. Try that one more time. Take a deep, full inhale and a big sigh as you exhale. And then just gradually allowing your breath to return to its natural rhythm. Just giving permission for the muscles of the abdomen to release. Really allowing the belly to rise as you inhale. And then just observing the ensuing fall of the exhale. And maybe for the first few moments, you're staying connected to the physical body, conducting deliberate scans as you seek out any unnecessary tension. And then just doing what you can to release those things. Until eventually it feels like the entire physical body is completely supported and settled. Maybe now there's a softening of the muscles of the face, especially between the upper and lower jaw. And then finding just a little more space between the eyebrows. And even the small muscles of the eyes are softening. If the mind wanders, that's okay. Know that I'll bring you back when it's time for us to go. As the mind has wandered, it's time to come back now. Coming back into the physical body, bringing the awareness back into the space, and beginning to introduce very gradual and subtle movements. So maybe just wiggling the fingers and the toes, circling out the wrists and the ankles, or taking a full body stretch if that feels really nice for you. Maybe sighing or yawning. And then using an exhale as you hug both knees in towards the chest, giving yourself a good squeeze. And making your way over onto the left-hand side. And just allowing the left forearm to support the head as you get settled. And then pressing enough into your right palm that you can lift yourself up to a comfortable seated position. And just bringing the hands anywhere that feels really comfortable for you. And if it feels safe and comfortable to do so, maybe closing down the eyes. And just checking in with your intention once more. And if this intention will serve you for the rest of your day, then just reaffirming it now. And if it feels like you could use a new intention to carry you for the rest of your day, take the time to establish that in a way that is meaningful for you. And then bringing the palms together at your heart, bowing forehead deeply towards the thumbs. Namaste.